guys have lives. Of course you do. Of course you do.
I don't.
No, I know you don't, Laura. Right. So I've tried to make it sound really fancy, calling it Q3, and I actually think is it Q3, Q4, whatever we're in. So we're going towards the back end of the year, this weird slump that we have after summer, before Christmas, and it's just a bit of a shitty time of year. Nothing's really going on unless you are like Chelsea, going on all these really cool travel trips, always living a best life. The rest of us, we've got not a lot going on. So how is it we can still feel fired up going into this? So I'm going to start with the importance of goal setting, right? You all know what a goal is. I don't need to, beat around the bush and go, what is a goal? But goals are actually so much more important than people realize. And if you saw my post that I did yesterday on Instagram, I've now given myself and got a really crystal clear defined goal. And since resetting that, I feel so much better. Laura, I think you feel the same now that you've got a bit of direction. Yep, Laura won't lie. She's not been feeling amazing over the last few weeks, a bit lost and stuff. We've both reset our goals and already feel wicked for it. And if you think of a goal as basically a vehicle that is going to drive you to your desired destination, I know that is literally vomit-worthy, cringy, disgusting, but it is completely true. And why are goals important? Motivation is probably the biggest one. If you have a set goal and target, it's going to give you drive to take action and maintain motivation during setbacks. Quickest results, ultimately. If you know exactly what you want, we can help create a plan of attack to get you there. The more specific you are with what you want to achieve, the more specific we can be with what we ask you to do. So if your goal is I just want to drop body fat, okay, we don't really know exactly what that means in terms of how quickly do you want to get there? Do you have something specific? Are you also wanting to get strong at the same time? The more specific and clear you can be with your values and goals, the more we can assist you in getting there. I have literally just jumped off a call with Liv, and we were actually talking about, the speed at which, to drop body fat and stuff. And I know, now what her goals are and the speed she wants to get there, so I can push her to do that. Prioritization. If you've got goals, you can make the trade-offs and compromises you need to get from A to B. And confidence and well-being. Because achieving goals is great for our mental well-being. If you tick something off, you feel great for it. So it gives you that mental well-being, gives you that boost. And again, if you're just ticking things off, you feel good for it, you feel more confident, it's going to allow you to get better results. So they're so important, basically. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to reflect on 2023 so far. Now, the reason that self-reflecting is important because it creates self-awareness. It allows, firstly, you to appreciate yourself for everything you've done and overcome. Liv won't mind me saying we've just jumped off a call, and we actually had a really good reflection on all the things she's changed over this year, and it's amazing, all the little habit shifts she's made, absolutely amazing. But it also allows you to identify with what it is you're still struggling with. And because we all live our lives on like speed 1,000, Chelsea is like the prime example of that. I love you, but you literally don't stop. You're amazing. But you just don't give yourself enough time to actually sit and reflect. So I want you to give yourself that time to go, what have you actually changed over this year? Like, what have you achieved? What have you overcome? And a really big one is actually just to go, how has life changed? And how does life compare to this time last year? Because sometimes you might think not a lot's changing at the moment, but if you look back at who you were a year ago, how much has changed? Leanne, great example on this, like the post you've been doing recently, completely different person. So you might not feel that different to 3 months ago, but to 12, you really have. Then think about maybe what you actually mapped out for yourself. Have you achieved that? Has your direction changed, and why? And is that okay? But then the biggest thing is to go, what are you still finding a challenge? Maybe what have you not been able to achieve or overcome, or what's different and why? And actually being able to have that reflection to go, was this your fault or beyond your control? Because sometimes things haven't gone the way you'd want, but maybe you've had a few months when you were unwell, or maybe you've had a real lot of life stress, and you need to give yourself that self-compassion to go, I haven't got there yet, but I know why, and that's absolutely cool. So I always say take about 5 minutes just to have a bit of a brain dump on those, to have a really good deep reflection, because we can be so quick to jump to the gun. And then moving forward, setting goals is great. But you need to make sure that you're set the right type of goals, because there's 2 types of goals. You've got outcome and process. So the outcome goal is what you want to achieve, something that you want to happen. Karen has got the outcome goal. She wants to do a deadlift competition this year, which is very, very, very exciting. We have people doing outcome goals of wanting to do photo shoots. We have outcome goals of people like Hannah wanting to do 10K runs, stuff like that, which is awesome. But you can't do an outcome without setting the processes. So these are the actionable behaviors that are going to get you to the outcome. So if you want to run a 5K, you probably need to be running 3 times a week. if you want to drop a dress size, I mean, we don't like to set numbers-based goals here. We're not Slimming World, absolutely not a part of that cult in any way, shape, or form. But if you say in your head, I know I felt good at X body weight and I want to get closer to that, well, you're going to need to ensure that you're tracking your calories every single day and just knowing the exact processes that you need to, the things that you need to tick off every single day to get you from A to B. So what you need to do is when you visualize the next 6 to 12 months, before you actually start to set these goals, you basically need to know exactly what it is you want to do and where you want to go. So the best way to do that is to visualize and think, this time next year, how do you want to look? How do you want to feel? What do you want to have changed? What do you want to have achieved? And what do you want to have overcome? And you actually need to mentally visualize this picture of the future you, which sounds really cringy, I know, it's awful, but you do. Because then what you need to do is when you've got that vision, it's like, right, so I've got this vision of who I want to be. What goals do I want to set for myself then? So all the things that you want to achieve for yourself, all the things you want to be different, and just basically make a mind map of this future you. So it could be, for example, like, I really want to do one of the client photo shoots. That's something I really want to do this year because I really want to make these physique changes. Maybe it could be I don't think many of people in here have had babies. I know there was a few people who want to catch up who have the babies who couldn't come because they have little babies. But they want to drop all this body weight and get back to who they were before. Maybe you want to have a really good improved relationship with food. Like, this time next year, I want to feel so in control. I never want to emotionally, and whatever it is. And then what you need to do is from there, and I'd actually do this as a spider diagram, is you've got this picture of you. You can make it as artistic as you want, or a stick man, and then all the goals that you want for yourself of this future you. Then from the goals, you need to actually then start to identify the outcomes. So if you're going for this goal of, I really want to do a photo shoot this time next year, it could be, well, the things that I need to do to get there is I need to ensure that I've maybe done a building muscle phase. Then I need to ensure that I've dropped enough body fat. Then I need to ensure that I've been able to stick to things consistently, and just literally make a full mind map of all the things that you need to do to get there. Again, about a 5-minute task. And then the most important one is looking at your barriers, because goals are awesome, but we need to be realistic, because you all have barriers and roadblocks that will stop you getting what you want. And there's 2 kinds, again, that you need to be able to identify: all the physical and all the mental. So what physical blocks are going to stop you achieving these goals that you are aware of? Is it time? Is it childcare? Is it commitments? Some things are going to come up that you can't predict, like illness and injury, but what things could be roadblocks for you? And then thinking of your mental blocks, which is probably the biggest one for most people. So what things could still tie you down? Is it self-limiting beliefs? So I couldn't do a photo shoot. Is it still that you see things as good and bad with foods that you eat? So you can't eat out right now and not feel like you've ruined everything. Is it low resilience in social situations? Is it when you show up, at a meal out, that you can't just have what you pre-planned because that peer pressure gets to you? What things do you still need to work on to get there? And identify all of them. And that's basically that there. And then I just wanted to basically finish up on this one, is how you can get the most out of the coaching with us, because we can do all this goal setting and stuff, and you can have direction and clarity, but I just wanted to reiterate some of the main things that are what are going to allow you to get the best out of working with us. So with your training, being consistent with it, showing up with intensity, aiming to progress where you can, and really focusing on just getting your absolute best out of it. So if you're not sure on an exercise, asking us. The people who are absolutely flying with their training are the ones sending form videos, asking about stuff. I mean, I've got loads, it's the same people, to be fair, that are on this call now. The ones that are sending me the form videos, that's how you're getting the best out of your training. Like Chelsea, your training is like transformed. Rebecca, ridiculous levels of progression. Amazing. Nutrition, just being honest with us. Just being honest and transparent, because if you're honest and transparent, we can help you out. Looking at those habits, really starting to get into that 80-20 rule mindset of breaking free from rigid rules and making sure that you are including that flexibility and planning and preparing. Accountability, one-to-one team calls. Hey, people here, amazing. But communicating with us, doing your check-ins, showing up, being a part of the team spirit. And then the mindset ones, being patient with things, utilizing the members area, ensuring that you trust us, and just being consistent. So what now is, once you have had the time to fill out that sheet and go through all those prompts that I've asked, and you've got all the prompts in the sheet, you will know what you want. You know what you need to do to get there. And you're going to know pretty much what barriers you have. And if you have got blanks that you need to help us to help you fill you in, we will. And send it to us. Let's have a chat about what we can do to ramp things up a notch, to make the 2023/2024 you that you want to be a reality, because that's all we want. And over time, your goal, your direction can get lost because you're doing the same thing on repeat, and it can get a little bit mundane if you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, not really sure where you're going. You lose motivation. We just want to make your goals a reality, as cringy as that is. So if you can consolidate this and send it to us, we know exactly what it is you want to do. And all we're going to do is just step up our game to make sure that we get you there.